Hi, everybody. I hope all is well with you. These are 3 case histories that I compiled from my files, and they were chosen because they represent the essence of the fire element in love relationships. Please keep in mind, I'm discussing the fiery temperament. A chart that has a preponderance of the fire element for the rising sign, sun sign, moon sign, Venus and Mars positions. I am not saying that it represents all Aries or Leos or Sagittarians on the planet. Okay, so case history number 1 from my files, an Aries man. They were Romeo and Juliet together, his Virgo wife told me. He was a fiery Aries with his Venus in Taurus, meaning attractions to earth sign women, and she was an earthy Virgo with Venus in Leo, attractions to fire sign men. According to Virgo, they were the absolute envy of all of their friends. On top of that, he rescued her from a boring job and gave her a position in his housing renovation company. All 3 fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, love to rescue the damsel in distress, but nobody loves the role of knight in shining armor more than Aries. Anyway, he proposed, they married, and Virgo had 2 children in quick succession, born 11 months apart. Needless to say, she left her job and now was a full-time mom, running ragged, trying to care for 2 babies. The first sign of disillusionment on her husband's part happened within the first year after the birth of baby number 2. She recounted the following. He came home from work one day, sat at the kitchen table, and stared at me as I was attending to the 2 little ones. He looked like he had something on his mind, so I sat down across from him and asked, "How are things going at work?" He responded with, "Tell me, how come you don't wear lipstick anymore?" Virgo replied, with shock in her voice, "What?" Aries, "And your hair is never done. I haven't seen you in a pair of high heels in 2 years, since you got pregnant." Virgo, totally dismayed, "Don't you know what's going on here? They're running me ragged. I'm constantly feeding them, washing them, changing diapers, and trying to potty train them. Keep them safe and out of trouble. I have no time. I can't even pee." Unfortunately, the reality of a situation, the nuts and bolts of a marriage, once the illusion, fantasy, romance, and adventure fades, is not easy for the fire signs. Aries, like the other 2 fire signs, Leo and Sagittarius, is romantic at heart, who tends to get caught up in the illusion and fantasy of love, not the reality. When disillusionment sets in, they tend to feel let down and betrayed. According to Virgo, Aries kept coming home from work later and later, and of course, she knew something was up. The thing that upset her the most was his sudden coldness toward her and the children. She found out about the new woman when she was out taking the kids for a walk, and she saw them together having lunch at the local diner. He didn't even attempt to conceal it. At home, there were the usual confrontations and screaming matches, but Aries made it clear that he had found a new princess to place on a pedestal, and it was over. Divorce and child support payments ensued. Of course, all of it upset Virgo. But what really upset her the most and brought the point home to her was how different, how very, very different on all levels the new girlfriend was. She felt it was his way of erasing all possible reminders of her, and it hurt. Case history number 2, Sagittarius. They ran into each other at a business conference and their eyes locked. Beyond that initial look of interest, he ignored her and maintained an aloof, professional demeanor for the rest of the day, which is very typical of his Venus in Capricorn. Once the daily round of meetings were over, she went to the ladies' room, came out, and headed straight for the exit to the parking lot and her car. But before she made it out the door, an arm swung out from a utility closet and snatched her. She found herself shoved against a door, which he then proceeded to lock. No, they did not go all the way, but they went far enough, and she was persuaded to give him her phone number. As an Aquarian female, she was okay with the excitement and his unconventional methods. As a Sagittarian male, he was driven, as all fire sign males tend to be, by the mythological, cinematic, larger-than-life romantic scenarios. So they started dating, and as it unfolded more and more, they seemed to be in harmony on multiple levels due to many shared characteristics. Aquarius drowned Sagittarius in freedom because of all the space she needed. She had lost her last relationship with an earth sign because his control freak tendencies could not control her or pin her down. However, since Sagittarian men usually love to chase, hunt, and pursue, Aquarius's tendency toward being unavailable and seemingly out of reach kept him very interested. It also kept him from feeling suffocated or commitment bound. She never ever called him or emailed him. Her attitude was, if he wants me, he knows how to find me. Meanwhile, I'll just fly free and go do my thing. So, their relationship went on, and then I lost track of them. However, they did come in for a chart comparison and composite chart because both had an interest in metaphysics. The last time I spoke with Sagittarius, he confided the following. The thing about her which holds me, believe it or not, is that she never stays conquered. No matter how close we become, she's often running toward the new idea, the new interest, the new subject that has a hold on her intellect. And I have to run after her and try to conquer her all over again. With that, I remembered a teacher who once told me, Sagittarius and Aquarius, they go together like ham and eggs. Case history number 3. Leo in love? The Taurus female who came to see me for a chart comparison and composite chart on the Leo she was dating did not really like him. Intrigued, yes, as earth and fire tend to be with each other, but compatible? No. She wanted to know if he was ever going to grow up. He was much older than her, but she felt as if she were dating a teenager who could think of nothing else except going out and having some fun. I thought an older man would bring some stability and solidity into my life, she said, but not this one. The more I get to know him, the more I see him as a child who never grew up. Why are you still with him after 6 months? I asked. Well, I was very down when I met him, and he cheered me up and showed me a good time, an exciting time. On all our dates, we went to interesting places, did interesting things, interspersed with lots of laughter, champagne, roses, bubble baths together, something I had never done before. Also, he's a great dancer. I never had a boyfriend who could dance. And he dresses for our dates. Really dresses well. And gifts too. He bought me two 14-karat gold necklaces, two pairs of 14-karat gold earrings, and three 14-karat gold genuine stone rings, amethyst, topaz, and garnet. Okay, I thought to myself, he definitely knows how to impress Taurus. But the truth was, they were not compatible for the long term, and their composite chart indicated this was a light-hearted romance and not a marriage or live-in relationship. I knew why Leo was with her. Very simply, she was young and pretty and gentle. I told her dating was his thing. I called him a professional dater, to which she replied, "You're probably right, he never married, you know." Furthermore, she added, he said something to me on one of our dates that made me feel like I was talking to somebody from another planet. He said, whenever we walk into a restaurant, everyone looks at us and they think I'm a famous movie producer and you are a starlet being interviewed for a part. Obviously, you're feeding his ego and his considerable imagination, I said. She replied, I always get the feeling he's watching himself more than he's looking at me. Amen.